Well, hello everyone, it's Kendall here. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're not new around here, what is up? Home skilly biscuit. And happy Saturday. If you don't know what Saturday is when I do a little something on my channel called Bad Movies in a Beat, series on my channel where I talk about bad movies while putting my makeup on. Ignore my tongue. It is a lot of red 40 or whatever they use in Crystal Light and Hot Cheetos. Last week, we raised money for charity, actually, when we watched Bratz, the movie, the live action. It was terrible. If you haven't seen that video, be sure to check it out up above, or you can check it out in the Bad Movies in a Beat playlist. There's so much Cheeto. This week, this week is going to be very phallic. Last year, I did a Bad Movies in a Beat on 50 Shades of Grey, the infamous respite for many sexually deprived, middle-aged housewife. It's one of my personal favorite Bad Movies in a Beat, so if you haven't checked that out, again, that's up above. But when I did that video, one of the mini qualms that I had with the movie is that it just didn't feel like it committed. The movie is supposed to be this super like groundbreaking, overtly sexual movie. Given that I was able to do and show much of the movie here on YouTube, it wasn't that intense, bro. Beyond that, the main male character just wasn't selling me sexy. You know, he looked very unsure, robotic, and the sex scenes were much to be desired. It was a waste of my time. So a few weeks ago, actually, I started getting recommendations, or requests rather, to look at this movie called 365 Days. And many people around me were kind of touting it as European 50 Shades of Grey, so they went with it. The requests skyrocketed after it very recently got added to Netflix. So I was like, okay, all right, we're doing this. I have a few expectations. Melodrama. Creepy and or cringy shit that you're trying to pass off as sexy. Probably a pretty decent soundtrack. Lots and lots of gratuitous sex being used largely as a de-escalation device. And here I am, having watched the film, and I come to you to say I'm clairvoyant. I am psychic. It is what it is. It's my cross to bear. So like I mentioned before, the movie is European, Polish to be more specific. It was originally a book, and it's filmed like that's the case too. The whole film just feels like a very sloppily sewn together collage of events that don't really have anything to do with each other, crocheted together with sex, and then boom, the end. That's the movie. Nothing makes sense. At no point do you feel connected or invested in any of the characters, especially not the main characters. Laura, they say Laura, so I'm gonna say Laura, and Massimo. Well, we got one thing out of the movie. Okay. So the film begins with Massimo, an Italian mob boss, stereotype much, looking across the water at a woman who's for some reason dancing like a GTA stripper with no music playing. Hint, this is Laura. Who'd have thought? Massimo's father is kind of the leader of this mob thing, and he's like, hey, one day this whole kingdom, this mob life, this mob world is gonna be yours, son. But who'd have thought? It happened quicker than he expected. That's not funny. Oh my god. Because basically, that's not funny. Yo. I'm delirious. I'm sorry. Because immediately after that, he gets shot. He gets shot through the back, and the bullet actually ends up hitting Massimo as well. But lucky for us, and lucky on the eyes, he survives. He is fine as hell. 5 years pass, and we get this really weirdly spliced together scene where we see Laura in Warsaw and Massimo somewhere in the States, and they're both like at business meetings with business people talking about business. It's one of the most disorienting scenes I've seen in a long time. They're just talking vaguely about investment, blackmail, sexism, strategies, but none of this matters. The only thing I can kind of guess that this was supposed to do was like make a parallel between Massimo and Laura, like they're both bosses. But other than that, it was just very poorly executed and written. So, not to mention, this is going to be the beginning of several communicative issues throughout the movie. There's 3 distinct languages in the movie: English, Polish, Italian. And though I don't speak Polish or Italian, I can tell you that the acting is awful in all the languages. Then soon thereafter, Massimo gets some cranium from the stewardess in his plane. I know, shocked me too. It just came out of nowhere. I was like, what? There were two things that came to my attention in the scene. One, why is the music so good? What's going on? And it's befuddling because the best music is in the middle of like sexual scenes. So frustrating because it's like, but I'll get to this later, but some of the sex scenes are so long that I'm like, okay, this is just a waste of my time, so I start fast forwarding, but I can't because the music is so good. I gotta watch just this up close of a man grunting for like 5 minutes. It's just, and two, it was really aggressive. And I saw, you know, I call it method acting. Now on Laura's side, she's in a kind of a stunted, semi-loveless relationship with this stone cold Steve Austin on vacay, dude. Her, the boyfriend, and going on vacation. And that is where she comes face to face, super abruptly, with Massimo for the first time. And this is where we get one of the first situations, first of many, in this movie where I actually gagged.
Are you lost, baby girl?
There were so many situations in this movie that made me physically like wrench, lurch, and or made me feel deeply uncomfortable. And not in this like, oh, anticipation, oh, so sexy, oh my god. It was like fight or flight. Like deadass, this movie made me itch. So I guess around this time the makers were like, yeah, this shit is moving too slow. So they make a scene where she pretty much for no reason goes out into the middle of the night in a foreign country by herself, just wandering side alleyways. She meets a random man in the darkness.
Buonasera.
I've never seen a fade to black like that in a movie before. Usually that's the type of thing I expect when you like expect there to be a commercial. But anyway, yeah, she's been kidnapped and she is not concerned enough about that. She wakes up and she's like, what? Wow, where's what? And as she's just like, you know, casually exploring the palace that she wakes up in, she gets to like the living room or one of the different floors and she notices that whoever lives here has a giant, creepy ass portrait of her. Now again, I'm aware that this movie for some reason is supposed to be considered romantic. So when I saw this big creepy ass portrait of her, I was like, how y'all gonna try to make this cute? I'm just curious, because logistically, how? You've already started off this Wattpad dumpster fire of a movie with a kidnapping and a creepy ass obsession poster. How are you gonna like convince us as an audience to not feel exceedingly uncomfortable when you want us to think this is pretty and beautiful and that it started off strained and strange, but at the end, you know, love prevails? How you gonna do that? Hint. He's rich and exceedingly attractive. That's all the effort they gave.
Are you lost, baby girl?
So apparently, Massimo's men drugged her, and that's how she got here. How you gonna alakazam that? I don't know. And once she wakes up, he kind of says something along the lines of like, my bad, I didn't know you had a heart condition. You had a bad reaction to them sedatives we gave you. Is that supposed to be cute and caring? Oh my god, he didn't want me to suffer heart failure when he drugged and kidnapped me. Now, I don't think I've ever really talked about this on Bad Movies in a Beat yet, but there is a big trope in fan fiction, Wattpad stories, romance stories. Essentially anything that could have this trope of the alpha male is that there is a very common trope of the brat. Basically, this is when the woman or the more feminine person in the relationship shows this very shallow, toothless resistance to the more dominant, most likely more masculine person. Now, what I've kind of noticed as an audience participant in watching and reading stuff like this is that it's always kind of used as appeasement to the female audience. They don't want to read a book of like a girl being taken advantage of or being weak and taken over They want to read about a woman who stood her ground, feign this like, oh, they're equals. Oh, they have the same amount of energy and power, even though he's very aggressive and very, very predatory and really gross and rapey. Honestly, it's not bad. He's not rapey because she is like this willfully disobedient trope. It makes me feel icky. I don't like it. The only way you can have like a brat relationship, y'all both need to know that you're in this brat relationship. Because when old girl gets kidnapped and she's like, get your hands off me, it's not like, get your hands off me. It's like, get your hands off of me. I'm gonna beat that ass. So when we see Massimo appear from the shadows, like a vampire or whatever the hell, and he's like very forceful and aggressive towards her, it doesn't feel like kind of like, oh, get away from me. It feels like, actually get away from me, which makes me uncomfortable. So Massimo starts to explain why he brought Laura here. This movie is just so awkwardly written.
Why am I here? Who the you are? Why are you keeping me here?
No. Apparently, back when his father died 5 years ago, as he lay there dying, Laura came before him, I don't know, in like a vision, or if she was literally looking down at his lifeless body and smiling like an angelic angel. That's funny as hell. Can you imagine seeing her just like doing like this over his dead body? Just and he's like, I'm gonna travel around the world to find this woman who I saw as I lay dying from a gunshot wound. And I'm like, okay, that still doesn't really explain anything, but all right, Stranger Things, I don't know. And Laura's over here like, yo, no. I don't know you. I have a boyfriend. I have a life. He's like, I got a boyfriend. And Massimo over here like, here, we have these very, very high definition photos of your boyfriend smanging another person. After that, we get some good old fashioned melodramatics, throwing her around like a pizza. Do I need to explain that this is not desirable? Just in case this is not desirable. You're welcome. Okay. He then says, I'm not gonna touch you unless you give me permission. Shocker, the entire movie he's touching her without giving her permission, but they don't have sex, so it's not, I guess, a problem. Like, what are you talking about? And it's just creepy. Also, am I supposed to take the word of my kidnapper? Yeah, he said he wasn't gonna touch me. Like, shut up. But again, this is just creepy. It's not giving me like sexy, like, oh my god, the danger. It's like actually the danger. Soon thereafter, we figure out the meaning of 365 days. Massimo says, if I can't get you to fall in love with me in 365 days, so a year. I don't know why would you why would you say it like that? He's like, if you don't fall in love with me in a year, I'm gonna let you go. Which again, you promised to not touch me while touching me. You kidnapped me. Why would I? Laura tries to run away and she's caught once again. This time though, she's able to get his gun and does not shoot him. And the thing that drives me crazy is that he looked at her, was like, well, you're not gonna shoot me. As if they have a relationship. She does not know you. But you're obviously insane. So yeah, I would shoot your fine ass. God. Anyway, skipping ahead. Laura sees Massimo's men and Massimo kill a guy. And seeing that made her faint again due to her weak heart. Did I mention that? She has a weak heart. It's not really important, but they mention it like 3 times in the beginning of the movie. So, her weak heart. She awakens to see Massimo shirtless for some reason. He explains that they killed the guy because he was a pedophile or something. I don't know. It's really not important. It was just in there for no reason. It doesn't matter. What ends up happening is they end up arguing about something. I lose track about what it is at this point. And he throws her on the bed again really aggressively. She slaps him. He's into it because she's feisty. Because she's an independent, strong woman. Which is used as a disgusting justification for their matched energies, as if strong, independent women haven't been sexually assaulted. Yikes. Anyway, no time to digest that realism because it's time for shopping. They go shopping and have brunch. And from what I understand, she's still a kidnappee, but for some reason she gets way too comfortable real quick at his house. Basically, from this moment, her going shopping and having food, she's just like, well, I'm here, beach. And once that distinction happened for no reason, she was turning into more of like an actual brat, in the sense that she was consenting to a lot of the things that were going on, which I still question, because like, given the circumstance, you got kidnapped. If you decide to change your mind along the way, that's just Stockholm. It's not you just consenting now. But anyway. But yeah, she starts playing the game as a brat, as if he's not an actual psychopath. You've seen him kill someone. He has stalked you, kidnapped you, been aggressive with you, sexually explicit with you, but you want to play the game and tease and taunt him? Y'all crazy as hell. Y'all deserve each other. What the hell? Like, damn, what does she eat? What does she eat? What did he put in her food that she's like, oh my god, this is funsies now? Seriously, there's so many scenes that are just like vastly uncomfortable. Like while shopping, she's in the dressing room and he just walks in and he's like, well, I can look wherever I want. I bought you, basically. She leaves out, throws the lingerie at him, and very slowly leaves. You wear it then. It's like, that doesn't work. You're in danger. So she very, very slowly runs away, and she ends up seeing 2 Italian police.
Can you help me?
Buongiorno, signore.
I don't have to say it. Somehow, they end up having like dinner, and she gets dressed up. Willfully. She's excited. She gets dressed up. She try to look nice. He basically goes up to her and he's like, hey, teach me how to treat you like a human being, essentially.
I'd like you to teach me how to be gentle.
Even though you're my kidnappee, I have now put upon you this responsibility to teach me how to be a human. Oh my god, there's nothing more attractive than a man not taking ownership over his behavior and his own emotional issues. Doubly sexy when he makes it the responsibility of a woman, instead of, I don't know, growing the fuck up. And then immediately after that, they're sleeping in the same bed. What? This is so offensively poorly written. She's completely forgot about being kidnapped. She called her mama, be like, well, I'm over here. And then we have another very sexual, non-sexy scene. Basically, they both end up taking a shower. He has an ass on him. I'm sorry, side note. But anyway, yeah, they end up in the same shower or whatever. She starts to tease him and she's like, ooh, you know, come closer, go away. And it's like, this don't make no sense. Like, I'm not understanding her motivation. Like, I don't get, like, what happened? She went shopping? Is that it? She went shopping and had a croissant. And what is with him and the neck, dog? He's always like, what? Consenting is a different issue, but like and then this gets even more confusing as the story progresses, because she just does the weirdest things. There's a scene where she's like super suggestively eating ice cream for some reason, and then she goes and takes a bath in a public fountain, and they don't explain that at all. Like, I think the core issue is that the film is literally the imagination or the imagining of like a singular scene and a bunch of just singular scenes that were attempted to be made into a movie. You can tell that whoever wrote this was like, you know what would be a good scene? She gets in a fountain. I don't know how we're gonna get her in that fountain, or realistically why she would ever be in the fountain, but like, she would be in the fountain to disobey him. Or he'll walk in on her in the changing room. But we're not gonna make a relationship in which him walking into the changing room elicits the response that I think you're asking for. You're like, ooh, sexy. No, it's like fire alarm, creeper, stranger danger. You missed the ball, sis. And no other scene quite exemplifies this particular quite like the scene where she goes to his room for some reason. They never explain that. She just goes to his room. There's some banter back and forth, and then he like locks her in the room, really aggressively throws her on the bed and chains her up, and it did not feel sexy. It felt like I was about to see her be attacked. Again, rapey. But instead of like doing more to her, I was gonna say doing anything to her, but obviously you've already crossed a lot of lines already. Instead, he's like, I'm gonna show you what you're missing. Brings some other chick into the room, and she freestyles off the top of the dome. if you get what I'm saying. And the first time I watched that, I was so thoroughly confused because he said, I'm gonna show you what you're missing. Sir, what am I missing? The opportunity to do all the work? You just sat there. You didn't have to do anything. What am I missing? He comes back to Laura, who's like tied up, and he starts like, you know, starts getting a little like sexual. And I was like, what happened to like not touching her until she said so? Then again, why am I expecting a kidnapper to be a man of his word? But they don't have sex because he ends it kind of disgruntledly, as if he has the right to be angry. And he's like, well, get dressed because we got to go to one of my clubs in a few hours. Again, because Laura as a character doesn't make sense. Instead of being greatly uncomfortable the way I would have been, crying, oh my God, I want to go home, traumatized. She's like, I'm going to dress up and be the baddest bitch ever, and I'm going to make him jealous. And it's like, for what? For what? And again, this scene is another one of those scenes that I could tell that they just made because like, I want a scene where she goes to the club and she's like all on a guy and it makes Massimo jealous. So being the bratty brat that she is, Laura comes in this super short glittery dress because she knows it's gonna get everyone's attention, specifically Massimo. Why you want his attention so bad, bitch? I don't know. Like, wouldn't you want him to be distracted? Like, so you can, I don't know, run away? But yeah, she's there and she knows that it'll get under his skin that she's in this skimpy dress looking like a little whore. And he comes out and he's like, what are you wearing? And she's like, I'm gonna take this time to go and flirt with other guys because you don't own me, sir. And so she goes and she flirts with other guys, and then one of them gets a little bit overzealous, and he gets all rapey, and Massimo ends up with 2 guns. He ends up being like, hold up. Honestly, this movie is just a cornucopia of so many just awkward and ill put together scenes, because right after that, Massimo and Laura start arguing and she falls off the boat, and that was funny. She falls off the boat, she passes out again, I guess from her heart. And when they wake up, the part that I assume you watched this movie for anyway, they finally have sex. I hesitate to say consensual because she was originally kidnapped, right? But she initiated the sex and allowed the sex. Take with that information what you will. They have sex for a very, very, very long time. It felt like a freaking eternity because it was just a montage of them banging on the front of the boat, in the back of the boat, on the bed, standing up, sitting down. And it's just like, dang, okay, I am single. I wanted to fast forward, but the song was good. The song was, that's the problem. Every time you want to skip forward, it's like they play a song because they know the movie's trash, so they have to play like a good song and play it really loud. I thought about that. I thought about the music. And another thought I had is, what happened to her heart condition? She exerted a lot of energy. She all right? Another trend with this movie is that whenever it's running out of things to do, or whenever they're trying to figure out a transition, they insert a shopping or a makeover montage. She's getting dressed up because they're going to a ball. I don't know why. And here's where they meet Massimo's ex that was shown very sporadically in the very early parts of the movie. Her name is Anna, and she's mad because they'd been dating for a while. The entire time, Anna knew that he was holding out for this mysterious lost woman in his life. And now that he's found her, he broke up with Anna like, peace, my bad. Which is funny because you don't even know her. She was laughing at you as you lay dying, so I don't know why you wanted to see her that bad. But anyway, Anna's jealous and vengeful, and she's like, I'll kill that hoe. And Massimo's like, don't worry about her. I'll protect you from her. She'll never do anything to you, blah, blah. Again, more sex. If it's not a montage, it's more sex. And at the end of this sex, he's like, hey, you're going back to Poland. So once back in Poland, she reunites with her best friend, and she tells her the whole shebang, like who Massimo is, he's a gangster, or her friend is like kind of not okay with it, but enough okay with it. She's like, okay, I guess. She's not sitting there like, hey, you want to call the police or something. Another makeover montage. This time it ends and her going blonde. Oh my god, that's the ugliest wig. That helmet ass wig, it looked like a Lego Mago ass wig. Ugh, it's so blocky, it don't move at all. What they use? Blue magic. They go out for a night of partying where Laura sees her ex, and of course, like a man, he wants her back. They all the same, sis, from Japan to the Congos to Poland to New Mexico. Men ain't shit. But he's begging her to get back together, and he follows her up to her room. Guess who's there? Massimo. She's mad at him again. I've lost track. I don't even know what she's mad at him now. And how do they quell any disagreement? They have sex. There you go. At some point, she takes his shirt off and she looks down and she sees his bullet wound. He's been shirtless the entire freaking movie and she's just now noticing the bullet wound. Then he's like, I don't think I need 365 days. Why? Because I love you. Let me speed this up. We dragging. So, Massimo proposes to her. She accepts. More shopping montages. Massimo meets her parents. Laura finds out she's pregnant. Laura does another shopping trip because is that all we do? This time it's her looking for her wedding dress, cute dress. Here we are at the most anticlimactic ending scene for this BS we've been watching. One of Massimo's men finds out there is a hit, I guess, out on Laura, and he wants to go and warn Massimo that she's in danger. Probably because of Anna, I think. I don't know. I don't care enough to figure out the specifics. But when he but when he finally comes to see Massimo, all he does is he just goes like, and I guess Massimo knows what that means. And then the camera pans out from the tunnel that Laura was in and did not come out on the other side of, and the police are there. And that's the end of the movie. So, of course, I assume this is supposed to be some cliffhanger like, oh my god, Laura died. But unfortunately, she didn't. Well, I'm assuming she didn't, because there's like 2 other books in this story. So fun. But like, that's it. That's the movie. This is the biggest freaking waste of time. But the guy is hot, not gonna lie. I think that's reason enough to say that it's better than 50 Shades of Grey. Because, I mean, that's not a crowning achievement. 50 Shades of Grey was bad. And basically, when it all boils down to it, it's about what you wanted from the film. If you came to look at a really hot guy have sex all the time, then you'll be satisfied. If you came to watch a movie, not so much. And that is all for today, folks. If you like this video, be sure to like this video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram and Twitter, both of which are KennieJD. I hope you all are doing well, and I'll see you guys next time.